This is just a basic intro to core strength vinyasa and the waves and why they're important and how they can help you. And the reason I'm doing this is because I can go into a little bit more detail here than if I'm doing a yoga flow, because with core strength vinyasa, we'll take some more time and intention in our transitions, but maybe not as much time as I need to explain all of this to you. So a grounding wave is when you press into the earth and you let the earth wave back up into you with its energetic force, return force. A Y wave is coming up onto your toes, allowing energy to travel through the arches of your feet, up through your legs, spiral out the inner thighs, open up the sits bones, and create more room for your sacrum shoulders. So the Y wave, you don't always come on your toes, but in downward dog you do. So in downward dog you do a Y wave, spiral out, and then the psoas wave is the one that starts at the base of the pelvis, and you're lifting into the low belly, right along your spine in the low back, carrying that wave, and then you extend that wave higher. It becomes a lumbar wave as it travels through the breathing diaphragm area and the rib cage area, and then finally it becomes an axial wave as it lengthens out along your neck through the crown of your head forward. And then from here in plank, you can refine. Maybe you need to, move your feet a little, make sure you're in the right position, the right length. Grounding wave back in, lengthen lumbar wave, psoas wave up on your tippy toes and back to downward dog. And then coming onto your tippy toes again, just wave the spine and make sure the shoulder blades are nice and neutral. Now, stepping onto your left foot, lift your right foot way up back behind you. And as you exhale, I want you to bend as you come through and then come up onto your toes as you bring your knee to your nose. And I want you to feel that you're engaging the base of your abdominal and your pelvis. I want you to be engaging those deep core muscles as you hold that knee to your nose. Because if you can hold your leg up using those deep core muscles, you'll get a much bigger step forward between your hands. So maybe that's the missing link. If you were doing this in your down dog and going, trying to get it up here. Well, maybe if you come onto your toes, engage your core, use it to tuck your knee to your nose, and then step that foot forward. Maybe you'll get up there a lot easier. So now we'll say we're coming up into Warrior One. Well, before we come into Warrior One, let's use our core strength vinyasa concepts to make sure that we're really comfortable. So grounding in through your feet, push down into the ground and let that energy reverberate and come up through your soles of your feet to give you energy along the core energetic lines, the deep energetic inner lines of the body. And then you can do a Y wave where you do open up the sits bones and carry a wave from the base of your spine along your psoas, which runs across the legs, but what we're talking about with the psoas waves is inside the sacrum, where it runs against the low back and along the low back spine. Do a wave of that, and then carry that up along your lumbar, and then axially so that your shoulders relax and spread wide open. You come a little bit more into your grounding stability and your flexibility before you rise up, and you're nice and long. So that's one difference, is starting from here. It feels totally different than if you were just to go from downward dog to, I won't even bend the knee, step forward and start going up. So here I'm like lengthened and I'm ready to use my core to again curl in. So anytime we're going to accentuate the low back curve and use the low back as a pivoting point to come up, as we often do in Vinyasa Flow Yoga, let's make sure that we're not just yoinking it up, but we're actually waving, using the inner core and that psoas wave to roll the low back up, and then roll the rest of the spine long, and then roll the shoulders, elbows up. So you're coming from a deep core expression. And then once you get up here, you can turn a little more. You can unbend and bend to refine the pose. But you want to make sure you're using your core and not just your low back. And that you're not moving so fast between transitions that you're, that you're trying to force your sacrum between two hips that aren't open, or trying to force your shoulder girdle between two shoulders that aren't wide, or trying to force your low back without the core strength companionship. So warrior one. So that's sort of an explanation of why core strength vinyasa feels good, how the waves can serve you, what parts of your body you need to be paying attention to no matter what any teacher is telling you. Let's not just go from here to here. Let's create some openness, some length, and use our whole core. Get those belly muscles under control. And then also the energetic push of the ground to feed your movement. And it just feels good, and it's healthier for you, and you're less likely to get injured. Let's do the other side now. And then you can see how it's really more flowing than a typical vinyasa flow practice. And there's a lot of different ways that will energetically flow in and out and move into postures to express them more freely or deeply. And that's my kitty cat. And one more thing while I have you here, let's do the down dog to plank wave. And then for a low cobra or up dog, for chaturanga, they always say bring your shoulders in line with your elbows. Well, you don't have to go that far, okay? If you have more integrity to keep your shoulders, and then what I like to do is roll back into downward dog that way. So I don't do a lot of heavy crunching with the low back, and I don't do a lot of forceful flow through of the shoulders. There you go. See, I can do more of an upward dog if I don't go all the way down. So if you are somebody who loses strength trying to come up into upward dog once you get your shoulders in line with your elbows, then just don't bring them down as far, and see if that helps you maintain a little bit of control and strength, and maybe even pull off an upward dog when you couldn't before. So yeah,